Hi, Jeremy Crow here. In this video, I wanted to tackle a question that comes up here and there, especially in the left-hand path of occultism, is why aren't there more wealthy occultists? And the question comes from the idea that you have these people who are practicing the occult, supposedly be able to, see the future, be able to heal the sick, any number of claims that people make who practice the occult. But why are they living paycheck to paycheck? Why aren't they able to manifest untold wealth in their lives? It's a very valid question, and I think I've got a few answers to that. I've got three main things that I think contribute to less occultists being able to manifest the kind of wealth in their life that will enable them to better accomplish the goals that they have, to better accomplish their will in the world, if they were able to manifest wealth. Number one, the first thing that I wanted to mention is mindset. So people have this idea in their head of that the physical world or the physical plane, that anything material at all is the enemy of the spiritual, that the material plane is the enemy of the spiritual, or that material gain is the enemy of spiritual growth. So this is a very, very pervasive idea that you have in the occult. And really, it comes from the right-hand path. And you have teachings from religious institutions such as Christianity that, for example, Jesus had this famous teaching that it would be easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a wealthy person to enter the gates of heaven. The implication being that material wealth is a barrier to spiritual growth. And so this is very pervasive. This is a very pervasive idea, and it's been around for centuries, longer, right? It's been around for a very long time. It's ingrained in people's mindsets from birth through their upbringing for generations. It's been the mindset that's been passed down for generations and generations, and it goes unquestioned. So people have this concept embedded in them over and over as they're growing up. They don't question it as an adult, and it becomes crystallized the longer it remains there unquestioned. And then you start to associate that idea that you've held for a long time with yourself as an aspect of your identity. And then when that concept, any concept really that you've held for a very long time, when it gets challenged, you feel that your identity is being challenged. You feel that you are being challenged when an idea you've held for a long time gets challenged. And so that makes it even harder for you to change that idea. It makes it harder for you to look at that concept objectively and change your mindset in regards to that if you've held on to it for so long that it crystallizes within you. It becomes almost an aphorism, an unquestioned truth to you. And that becomes dangerous, because then you get limited by that, because you don't have the ability to question it. You don't have the ability to, challenge that idea and modify it if it comes up short. You're kind of married to it. So that's number one. You have these unquestioned, supposed truths to yourself that you've married, you've attached to your sense of identity, and therefore it's hard for you to break out of it. So that's number one. Number two is you have this unrealistic expectation, or not you, maybe you, but there is this I'm using that word persuasive again. I mean pervasive. It's ubiquitous. This idea that magic is, you say a magic word or wave a magic wand. You wave a magic wand and say some pseudo Latin word or phrase, and then the laws of physics are suddenly null and void, and the thing you want magically manifests out of nothing. This idea obviously is from movies, stories, and it's not how magic actually works. So if you've been involved in the magical realm, if you've done magic, you understand this already, hopefully. But magic works through natural channels. So if you're trying to manifest something in your life, it will enter into your life through a channel that is just, a natural channel. Like say, for example, there's a classic example that somebody will do a ritual to get a certain amount of money that will cover a bill that they need to cover, in order to accomplish their will in the world or whatever, right? So then somebody who owed you that amount of money suddenly comes into your life and is like, oh yeah, hey, I got that money I owe you, So that channel is there, and you've kind of triggered the release of those funds into your life through, subtle methods, say. But that channel has to exist on the physical, in the real world. And then the magic kind of greases the wheel, it kind of eases that channel. It kind of prepares that channel it helps it along. It helps that channel actually manifest whatever it is. It energizes it, you could say. It turns on that channel. But that channel has to exist. If it doesn't exist, it's not going to happen. No matter how many rituals you do. You could do rituals 24/7, and it'll never happen because you don't have that channel for manifestation. So, like, there's that classic joke about the man who was, praying to God to let him win the lottery, and he just kept getting more and more intense, and then finally God comes down and says, buy a freaking ticket. You need that. You're not going to win the lottery if you don't buy the ticket, no matter how many times you pray or do your ceremonies or whatever. So that's the other thing. The number 2 reason that I'm pointing out in this video is that people have an unrealistic expectation of how magic works. They think that they can just kind of put their order in with the universe and then wait around for it to deliver. It's this mentality of entitlement within occultism, that you put in your order and you just wait for it to arrive. Sometimes that might happen, but the thing is, in those cases, that channel for manifestation has already been established in the physical plane. You need to work at it from both angles, both types of channel, the subtle channel and the gross channel, you could say, the mundane channel, which isn't really mundane at all. I see the physical plane and the spiritual plane as a spectrum, points on the same spectrum. So there's no separation really between the material and the physical. It's just a matter of degrees of quality and change. Frequency, some people say. Anyways, wavelength, So what's the number 3 reason? The number 3 reason is priorities. Where are your priorities? Where are you putting your resources? So many occultists will spend hours and hours poring over occult tombs and, old ancient grimoires, or even the most recent book by their favorite, author in the community, that, their favorite kind of figurehead in the occult community. Oh, what's this? This person just came out with a new book. I'm going to read that. And they'll just spend hours and hours reading books and, listening to podcasts, or they'll spend hours and hours doing rituals, or they'll spend hours sitting in meditation, or whatever, whatever your thing is with occultism, you'll spend hours and hours on that. But how much time do you spend on developing the skills in order to bring money into your realm, into your circle, right? How much time do you put into poring over manuals on wealth generation? How many times have you spent reading a book on developing the mindset of an entrepreneur? Absorbing those concepts that are absolutely necessary in order for you to generate more wealth in your life. That's the other thing. So you have people that are in the occult that will spend all of their free time developing the spiritual stuff, their ritual skills, their ability to hone their own mind, their ability to enter into various altered states. And that is very valuable. Don't get me wrong. But if you are interested in bringing wealth into your life, you have to put in the time. You have to put in the time and effort in order to bring wealth into your life, to develop the skills that you can use to bring wealth into your life, to develop them, and then to put them into practice. So you have to put that energy into it. So these are the three things, in my opinion, that are holding people, occultists, back from achieving much higher levels of wealth. And they are unquestioned mental blocks, I guess, mental aphorisms or ideas that are deeply held that prevent you from achieving wealth. Number two is this idea, this unrealistic understanding of how magic works. It just gives you an edge. It gives an edge to whatever real world work you're doing. Think of it that way. So you got to put in the effort on the real world, and any magic work you do greases the wheels. It gives you an edge, gives an edge to whatever real world work you're doing. And number three, the idea of priorities, that you have to actually allocate your own personal resources in order to achieving wealth. So you have to put in the time and effort to learning about building wealth and then actually putting it into practice. You can't just sit around developing your occult skills all day and expect that you're going to be able to bring untold wealth into your life. That's it. Unquestioned mental concepts, an unrealistic expectation of how occultism works, and three, a lack of energy put into building wealth in your life. Of course, there are other socioeconomic factors that are in play here. I'm not trying to minimize this to just three simple little things, and they're not really that simple after all. But they are major factors that I've been able to kind of identify. And I've been working on them in my own life as well, too. So I'm not just trying to indict the occult community. These are things that I'm working on as well. I've been trying to develop the mindset that and trying to root out any of these blockages that I've been holding in my mind that's holding me back from that as well. So this is something that I'm putting effort into as well. Now, if you like the videos that I've been putting out on occultism, on entrepreneurship, on healthy lifestyle, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. There's a little bell beside that subscribe button. If you hit that as well, you'll also get notifications for when a new video comes out. And I do videos roughly once a week or more. Sometimes if I have more time or if I'm inspired, then I'll do more than one a week, but generally I'll do at least one a week. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Until then, stay lucid.